Welcome back. The fight for reproductive rights took center stage at the DNC last night with several women speaking from states that have enacted abortion bans since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, including Hadley Duvall of Kentucky, a survivor of sexual abuse who became pregnant at just 12 years old after being raped by her stepfather.
There are other survivors out there who have no options. And I want you to know that we see you. We hear you. Kamala Harris will sign a national law to restore the right to an abortion. She will fight for every woman and every girl, even those who are not fighting for her.
Let's bring in Democratic Governor of Kentucky, Andy Beshear. He spoke last night at the DNC after being introduced by Hadley. And Governor, Hadley rose to national prominence after the message that she created for you and for your campaign. And quite frankly, we are seeing in real time the results of the overturning of Roe, with women across America experiencing health problems, life-threatening health problems due to the fact that abortion is now not available in their state, or there's confusion about it. How front and center should this be to Kamala Harris's presidential campaign?
Well, it should be very front and center. And let me start by saying Hadley Duvall is one of the bravest people I've ever met. She is incredible. And last night, both my daughter and my son were in the crowd to hear her, and I'm just so proud of Hadley and the message she delivers, because she makes it so personal to everyone. Everyone can see themselves or their families. She helps people open their heart and their minds, and to think about this in a different way, where you're no longer just pro this or pro that. This has gotten, in states like mine, just so extreme. I mean, in Kentucky, there are no exceptions for rape, for incest, or for non-viable pregnancies. I mean, I remember the birth of both of my children, and can you imagine having to go through that, knowing that your child isn't going to survive, or knowing you're not going to hear that sound at all at birth? Nobody should have to go through that. Everyone should have options. I mean, this is about just empowering people to make their own decisions. And last night, that was front and center, and not just Hadley, but the other two that were out there, and the couple too. What powerful testimonies, and what courage that has to take, not just to fight that fight, but to come on stage and share your truth, to be that vulnerable. They're really special people that are helping to communicate how extreme our laws have gotten to the country.
And some of the other examples you mentioned are very common. Ectopic pregnancies, pregnancies that are non-viable. And what's happening to women now is that instead of getting the health care they need through abortion health care, they are being left sterilized and traumatized. And these are real stories that are happening across America right now. So Americans already, for the most part, agree that abortion should be available. But now they're seeing the ramifications of the overturning of Roe, which should be pretty inspiring come Election Day. And then on the right, Governor, you have Republican candidates and Republicans talking about babies being aborted at 9 months. Can you even make sense of their argument? Because half of it's not even true.
No, it's just fear tactics, and it's just lying to people. I mean, think about what some people have had to go through because of these laws. J.D. Vance calls pregnancy resulting from rape inconvenient. Like, inconvenience is traffic. I mean, it is, make him go through this. I mean, it is someone being violated, someone being harmed, and then telling them that they don't have options after that, that fails any test of decency, of humanity. But here's the thing. It also shows they don't have any empathy at all. And a president and a vice president has to have empathy. You got to be able to put yourself in a position that you've never been in to try to understand somebody else, because you've got to be a president and a vice president for all of America, not just where you're from, not just for your friend group, but for all of America. And that's why Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are the right ticket. They're the right people. I'm really excited to support them, and this is one crucial reason.
So, Governor, I will say I was in the room last night, and when Hadley was speaking, you didn't hear a sound except for a few people sobbing. Listening to her speak. What you have done in Kentucky is remarkable, winning as a Democrat and now a deep red state, and that includes appealing to rural voters, which some Democrats have had challenges with in recent elections, in recent national elections. So we know they're going to play an important role this year, places like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. How should Democrats, how should the top of the ticket talk to rural voters?
Well, the first thing we should realize is when most people wake up in the morning, they're not thinking about this election or the polls. They're thinking about their job and whether they make enough to support their families. They're thinking about their next doctor's appointment for their parents, their kids, or themselves. They're thinking about the roads and bridges they drive every day. They're thinking about the public school they drop their kids off at, and they're thinking about public safety in their communities. We have got to have a message that we talk about every day about how we address those core concerns, because if you don't meet those, you don't get to anything else. You're too worried about those core concerns. And so when you look at the vice president's new economic plan, it goes right to that. Expanding tax credits for the middle class, help you with that job, help you to afford things. The cap on prescription drug costs, go right to that next doctor's appointment. The bipartisan infrastructure law helps with those roads and bridges. That is living and governing where people wake up in the morning. And when you do that, you don't move a country to the right or the left, but you move it forward. And we need that message. While J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are calling adults without children psychopaths or sociopaths, I want people to know there's room for everyone on this campaign, in this party. But you don't have to change parties. Just vote for who you think's going to fight for everyone. Fight for your neighbors. Fight for your friends. Fight for people who may have different views, but who you trust to try to do the right thing every single time.
And there's room even for people with cats. Kentucky's Democratic Governor Andy Beshear, thank you very much for coming on the show this morning. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Governor.
All right, take care. Up